Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome back to the Moving to the UK podcast, your guide to relocating to the UK with confidence. I cover the north of the UK. In this podcast, we focus on the property side of your move, from finding the right place to rent or buy to choosing the area that suits you best.
Hi, I'm Mark. I cover the south of the UK. We also bring in trusted guest experts to cover everything else you need to know, from visas and cost of living to schools and day-to-day life in the UK. Packed with practical advice, real stories, and honest insights to help you make informed decisions. Don't forget to join our Facebook group Relocation to the UK to ask questions, share experiences, and connect with others on the same journey. Let's get started. Today we're joined by Fiona, who works for, as you can see, Currencies Direct. I'll let Fiona explain a little bit more about what she does initially. And we've got several questions we've got ready to ask her. So Fiona, over to you.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. So I'm Fiona Warren from Currencies Direct, and Currencies Direct are a specialist money transfer company. And what we do is we do the transfer of money from one currency, one country to another. So we transfer money all around the world, over 40 different currencies. We've been doing that now since 1996. So the 30 years this year. I have personally been there. So as I say, what we do is we help they are in the world to wherever they're moving, or even sending, if they're based in the UK and they have family in the US or Australia or wherever in Europe, and they want to send money to kids or family, we deal with that. So it's anything from, small to large sums for any reason.
Great. You are cracking up a little bit on the recording, so hopefully you can still see us all right, because you looked like it's blanking out a little bit. Don't.
No, I know. It's. Yes, I've noticed as soon as you started recording, my PC started saying low bandwidth for some reason, which is
really?
A bit unfortunate. Hopefully.
No problem. Well, we've got a few questions for you then, so I'll start off with first, and probably we'll just alternate between me and Andrew. But first one is, like most people would just say, why don't I just transfer with my bank? What's the main point of difference between you guys and the banks?
Yeah. Well, basically, banks, they do all sorts of services. Obviously, the savings, mortgages, loans, etc. Currency exchange, foreign exchange is not their specialty, whereas it's the only thing we do. So we only do foreign exchange, and because that we are able to offer much better exchange rates. So normally on average we can save anything up to 5% when you compare with high street banks. Plus, quite often call your bank at 10 in the morning and say, I need to send X amount to the UK from the US. They will give you an indicative rate based on the rate at that time. But by the time the transfer goes, it could be a completely different exchange rate. So again, because foreign exchange and moving money internationally is the only thing we do, we are a specialist in that field. So we're able to offer better services and, as I mentioned, better exchange rates.
Up to 5%. That's a big difference. If you're transferring £100,000, that's 5,000, or obviously
Massive.
even more. So that's massive saving.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, from our side, when we've got clients, it's often either they're buying in the UK or renting and have to exchange, bring over lots of money. Well, not lots of money, but a fair sized lump sum. So I suppose with the money, it gets lost in the ether and stuff like that. So their main concern is it safe, and kind of how is it managed from that view?
Yeah, absolutely. We are authorized and regulated as an e-money institution. Basically, what that means is we in every country we work in every currency we work in, we are regulated, and we work to very strict compliance procedures. All funds are held in completely segregated ring-fence clients' accounts. So when you're doing a transfer from, say, dollars to sterling, you're transferring funds into our client segregated dollar account, and those funds are protected in full. So in the highly unlikely event that anything should happen to Currencies Direct while we're holding funds for you, the funds would be protected in full and refunded in full. There is no upper limit there. So it's so the protection is there 100%, and we are a very high turnover company. I mean, last year our turnover was in excess of 11 billion. So it's the funds are protected 100% at all time. And anyone who wants to register with us, then I can obviously send them full information on how our regulatory status, what our regulatory status is, what our compliance procedures are, so they know exactly who they're dealing with and how we protect the funds at every stage of the transaction.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a turnover. That's just slightly more than me and Andrew probably. So that's pretty good. So you must come across again, another question we always get. You must come across like the Wise, Revoluts, and Monzos and things like that. How do they differ, possibly from the discounts you just mentioned earlier? But how do they differ from you guys?
They are purely online services. So Wise obviously is a very big player. They've come about in the last few years, but the service they provide is purely online. Whereas with us, when you register with as a client with Currencies Direct, you are then assigned your own personal account manager. They are one of our senior dealers. You will have their direct email, their direct landline. So if there's any, issues, any delays, and it happens, if funds get blocked. I had an example recently where a client was completing on a property on the Côte d'Azur, and their funds were blocked by their notary's bank. Nothing that we had done wrong, nothing that the client had done wrong, but there was just a slight discrepancy on the beneficiary name, and the funds were automatically blocked. Now, if you were using a service like Wise, that sort of issue would be very difficult to resolve quickly. You wouldn't know exactly who to turn to, who do I contact. You don't have a direct point of contact, whereas my client did, and we were able to jump in and resolve the issue very, very quickly to avoid the delay in the completion of our property. So that's the key difference. Plus, we offer services such as forward contracts, allowing clients to lock in their rate up to a year in advance, limit orders. There's just more flexibility in the service. We can offer a broader range of services to kind of help mitigate the effects of market volatility.
So good old fashioned actually customer service, talking to somebody, not just pressing a few buttons and your money's gone somewhere.
Exactly. You can't beat it sometimes, especially when you're talking about high value transfers. I mean, when you're doing smaller transfers, going online, that's less of an issue. But I think when you're talking about several 100,000, that's where you really want to know, is it everything okay? Is my money safe? If there's any delays, do I know what to do? Will I know what to do? Will I know who to contact? That's what I think and that's obviously what we can offer, definitely.
Yeah, I suppose it's peace of mind, isn't it? Because you'll compete on the rates with the likes of Wise and whatever else the currency providers. But then to know if something goes wrong, that you've got a point of contact to go, hey Fiona, like this, they stopped the sale could fall through, and before you know it, your sale's delayed or it falls through, and then you've got to start the process again. So
exactly.
For me, I think if I was moving to Australia or America, it would be nice to know, okay, I've got a contact if anything goes wrong. So that's good. Exactly.
That's it. It's the quality of service, and we have won multiple awards for our customer service as well. So it's important to know that you have that backup. I mean, people talk, when a client is introduced to me, they're talking to me initially, but obviously they I'm backed up by a whole team, and it's good for them to know that they can contact me or they can contact their account manager at any point. So that having those layers of contact, and it's a direct contact as well. It's you're not just in a generic customer service queue waiting to speak to the next advisor available type of thing.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I mean, bank account wise, how does it work? Do people get an account with Currencies Direct to use your services, or?
Yeah. So the first step for any client that wants to use the service is they register with us. They're not obligated to use the service if they do. So I always advise, if anyone's considering, if they're looking at moving and they're thinking about how they're going to move their money, just register, because there's no obligation to do anything. But once they are registered, they're registered with us. And then when they want to make a transfer, it depends on what they're doing. So if they're doing dollars to sterling or Japanese yen to euro, whatever, they will then be in contact with their account manager. They'll get the exchange rate. They will, if they're happy to go ahead with that, they will confirm that they want to go ahead. And then we will then give them the bank details of where they need to make their payment into for their selling currency. So whatever that is. So then they will make payment to us and then give us the instruction for where they are sending, where we need to send the funds to. So if it's to their lawyer for a property purchase, or their rental agency, or they're paying a service for whatever it is, they will tell us where they want us to send the currency that they bought. And yes, as I say, they will make payment to us into their selling currency. There's our client segregated currency account for that.
Okay, so I think you answered the next question that I had raised, was which currencies do you trade, which is probably every currency that you can think of.
Yeah, we trade over 40 currencies. So basically all the majors.
Yeah.
And what kind of timeline from, I don't know, I phone you today, Fiona, and say, hey, I'm moving to the US, I've sold my house. What timeline is it from registering to kind of putting the money in to then getting the money out the other end, and vice versa for clients moving to the UK, I suppose?
It's all very quick. I mean, the registration process, if a client's registering online, that part of the process will take no more than 5 minutes. They then have the compliance process, where compliance will obviously carry out the necessary due diligence, check everything, make sure that their account is okay to approve. Once that's done, they'll be allocated their account manager. So that whole process probably would take no more than a couple of hours. Doing the actual transfer, the part that we do, if they have sent in their currency beforehand, for example, so if they know they're going to do dollars to sterling, and they're not quite ready, but they want to get everything in place, they can then start, as soon as they've registered, they can start to fund their account with dollars ready to buy sterling when they want. If they have already given us their onward payment instructions, as soon as they've then done the conversion, if the funds are in place to buy the currency, then it will be automatic. So we will then immediately send on the currency to their beneficiary, wherever that may be. So all in all, as a very kind of rough example, as a very rough guideline, I would say if you've got a client that's looking to do a large transfer, allow sort of 1 to 2 working days to get everything in place. It's a lot of it will depend on how quickly they can get funds to us. As I say, when they've got funds to us, the release of the onward payment from us will be automatic if they've given the instruction. But then obviously you've got to then allow for time for the funds to be cleared into their beneficiary account as well. So to be safe, I would say clients, so from start to finish, I would allow sort of 1 to 2 working days.
Okay, it's a lot quicker than I would think. I was thinking more weeks, but 2 days is pretty good going.
No, that's good. I'll make a regular payment to a contact I've got in South Africa every month, and that goes swimmingly. And I think I mentioned the other day, Fiona, I've got an English guy who sells real estate in Dubai, Philippines, and Thailand. He's got a contact from Taiwan who's looking at doing stuff in America. The American guy's looking to buy stuff in Dubai. So lots of crossovers there, which is perfect for you. You can do it all.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Excellent. Brilliant. Any more questions, Andrew? Well, that's really good.
No, it's great to get an understanding of, I suppose, like we stay in our lane with what we do, Mark, but there's so much involved with relocation, from currencies to, like you say, visas to kind of household goods. So it's good for us to get a bit of more of understanding on, I mean, what's the difference between Currencies Direct and kind of all the other kind of providers, which sound a bit more risky, basically. So
no, I did a seminar presentation at a seminar recently, and for a company a relocation company, and it's the same. And that was how I sort of opened it. It was like, well, when you're relocating from one country to another, you think of all the physical aspects, don't you? How you're gonna, where you're gonna live, what you're doing in your home, how you're gonna get your furniture and your pets and your kids and all the rest of it from A to B. But you sort of maybe don't think so much immediately as, well, how am I going to get my money from A to B? And obviously that's where we step in. Yeah.
There's so many things. We all get approached at different times because they want to get a school, or they want to get a car, or they want to get the, near to a church or library or whatever it is kind of thing. Yeah. So they go swimming, or they like the mountains or whatever. So yeah, we've got to look at, that's our relocation side that we do. But with yours is something that if it's a large sum of money, which we're normally talking of, obviously a large sum of money, it's very precious to a lot of people, obviously. So it worked hard for it, and you want to know it's safe. So it's great that
definitely.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah, that's been great.
Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you for your time. And my advice would be, if anyone wants to find out any more information, then please feel free to just put them in contact with me.
Of course.
It costs nothing to have a chat. It costs nothing more than a few minutes of your time to register and kind of then have that conversation with your account manager and take it from there. So it's always
that's exactly what me and Andrew do. We have an initial call with people just to say, look, you don't have to use our services. We can give you a few hints and tips, but we do this for a living. We might keep you on track. You might be off track, so we can at least help you wherever possible. And this is another part of the service again of all the things that people that will need help with, like you say. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you guys for your time.
No problem.
Thank you.
Fiona.
Have a good
See
day.
you again soon. Cheers. Thank you. Bye now. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Moving to the UK podcast with Andrew and Mark. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss the next one.
And don't forget to join our Facebook group, Relocation to the UK, where you can ask questions, share your experience, and connect with others on the same journey. We'll see you in the next episode. Till next time.